Hi, my name is Chris Polson, and I'm the selections manager of FineCraft Contractor. Welcome. I'm here to answer some frequently asked questions of me from homeowners regarding selections. My task is to help the homeowner choose the items that are listed on their estimates. So in the estimate, at the very bottom, you have a category in a section called allowances. And it could have various categories from windows and exterior doors, plumbing fixtures, tile, etc. So my job is to connect the homeowner with our vendors, whom we've worked with for many years, and we have experienced reps. They work with the reps to choose the items that they want for their project. I then verify the order that comes back, the quote, to make sure it will technically work with the project, or that the homeowner has maybe chosen something that might be outside of the scope of the contract. So I would alert them, let them know, hey, this will be a little bit more to install. Do you want to continue? But I review it for those aspects. And the homeowner ultimately will give me approval, in which case I place the order. I manage the logistics of all of the deliveries. Day of delivery, we have our crew unload. That way, the homeowner is free to not have to worry about any of that stuff. We get a small amount of homeowners that would like to do that, and I really actually appreciate their help in doing that. But the truth of the matter is, the way that we work, our entire procedure, our entire methodology is arranged around my services. As an example, once an order is placed, our crew then starts asking me, when is it going to arrive? Or when it does arrive in the warehouse, I notify our crew so that they can then tell me when to ship it to the site. So I'm doing a lot of back-end managing and handling of the logistics so that it arrives when the crew needs it, not all at once so as to fill up the homeowner's house with all this stuff that we then have to move around and risk breaking. So for those reasons, we prefer that we handle all of the selections for the benefit of the project, for the effectiveness of the project, and to get that out of the homeowner's hair. Yeah, what if you do have a designer? And where does the designer stop and where do I come in? I'm happy to work with designers. In fact, they can make the flow a lot easier, because sometimes a homeowner doesn't know what items they want to select, or they don't know how the certain color tile is going to go with the paint color on the wall. So they may enlist the help of a designer. How I work with the designer is the designer will help the homeowner select the aesthetic aspects of the various products for the job. And they will work with me by going to the vendors that I recommend. Now, they may come to us with their own vendors, which is totally fine. I would just open up an account with them, but chances are highly likely we already have an account. So they would make the selections with their designer. Then it's turned over to me once those selections are made. I then place the order and manage the delivery of the order. So it ends at the designer homeowner choosing the items, and my role begins managing the deliveries. I actually enjoy it when a homeowner or a designer architect brings a vendor that I'm unaware of, because I have a master list of vendors that I use, and it's always good to add another, to my list. And it's completely easy for me to set up an account at that vendor. So the answer is yes. So you'll notice in your contract, it does say 20 days. And so that's, roughly 3 to 4 weeks. And we really try to stick to that target, because a lot of items on a construction project have a long lead time. And what I mean by a lead time is how long it takes from placing the order to it arriving in the warehouse, not on site. That's the lead time. Some items can be 20 weeks. Some items can be 10 weeks and shorter. So there has to be a sequencing of when to order them. And earlier than that, there has to be the decision to order them and what you're ordering. So we like to have it done within 3 to 4 weeks, no more, so that way you don't add any delays to the project or the start date. Can you choose selections in any order you want? The shorter answer is no, but there's some logic behind that, so allow me to enlighten you. As I mentioned earlier, Various items arrive at different times. And what I mean by that is, let's take an example, windows and doors. Those can typically be anywhere from 10 weeks to 25 weeks, depending on what the homeowner has chosen. So that would be the first item to order because it's the longest to arrive. Next would be appliances, followed by cabinetry, then plumbing fixtures, electrical fixtures, bath accessories, etc. So I have a master list of the sequence in which we need to make decisions in order, and it's not all at once, it's very organized, and it's a path of ordering. Yeah, so how does payment work with selections? It's pretty simple. All payments go through us. So you'll notice that when I get a quote from the vendor, I send it to you and your designer or architect for final approval after I've reviewed it. Once you give the okay, I place the order, but before I place it, I'm gonna actually send you an invoice on Buildertrend, which is our online project management software. You make the payment 100% to us. I then pay the vendor and take it from there. So it all goes through us. So what if you've already made your choices, you've purchased them at a vendor, they're just not there? That's actually a typical example. So in this case, I would just ask the homeowner to turn the contact information of the vendor over to me. I would reach out to them and establish myself as the point of contact for all deliveries. I would then take it from there and deliver the items to the site, lining up with the needs of the production crew. Exactly. So those items I would not work with because those items require samples or painting on the wall to see the color. For those items, you would work with your project administrator and your construction manager, and they're going to be more than happy to help you by putting up samples, showing you what a crown molding might look, a few samples of that. That way you can make an informed choice. I've dealt with a lot of customers, and a lot of them have never some have had other construction projects, but have always commented to me, I've never worked with somebody called a selections manager, right? It's refreshing to the homeowner because I will pose questions that they never thought of. Things that, what they're selecting may affect their project down the road in this way. And they're not thinking of that, just because they're not in the, they're not in the industry like I am. So I would imagine to them, it's like having a safety net when you're walking a tightrope. I'm there for them. I will save them from the fall and, get them back up on the tightrope. The project administrator's role, they're kind of the Uber head of the project. Their job is to coordinate all of the aspects of the project, from scheduling to meetings to making sure each element of the project is flowing on schedule to a completion. And they have a lot of tools to hand. One of them is the construction manager, who is actually doing the work of building your house. The other is myself, the selections manager, right? My role is to help you with the selections, but I'm also a tool for the project administrator because they can call upon me to send items out to the house when they need them, or they can call upon me to find out information about selections that myself and the homeowner and architect have made when it's a technical question. So the division of roles is project administrator, they're running the project. Selections manager, I am running a small aspect of the project. So any questions you have, kind of in general, should be directed to your project administrator. But if it's a specialized question about one of the selections you made with me, you can absolutely reach out to me. The question is, are you going to be out there on your own with the vendor? And the answer is no. I would facilitate the connection with the window vendor, as the example that you've given, but I do a lot of work before you actually meet them. I'm reviewing your plans, I'm reviewing your budget, I'm making an itemized list of all of the things you'll need for that particular aspect. If it's windows and doors, I'm having our crew take site measurements, we're verifying things in field. There's a lot of setup before you actually go to meet the vendor. That way, when you meet them, you're not wasting time. You're able to just make those choices. And the vendor, I will have sent them your plans, budget, etc. so that they can steer you to the correct items for your project. Is there an extra charge? Absolutely not. This is how we work, so it's all built into the cost. It's the most effective way to get the project done, so no. So when do you meet the selections manager? Well, first thing is first. You have your pre-construction meeting with the project administrator. And at that pre-construction meeting, the project administrator is going to cover a lot of vital things on your project, but will also set up a separate meeting with the selections manager via Zoom, and the project administrator will be in attendance as well. So pretty shortly after. Does it add time to have a selections manager? It's a good question. It may seem so at the beginning because you're having an additional meeting and you're covering things with the selections manager, but the truth of the matter is it does not, because it's setting things up so that the entire project flows incredibly smoothly from the get-go. So it's more of an organizational step so that everything can just fall into place. So if you have any technical questions about the project, would I be the person to go to? If it's from your selections, I can answer a lot of those questions. Having myself worked in the field for a number of years, I have familiarity with how things are installed and the sequence and the process, so I'd be happy to answer any of the questions. If it's something I can't answer, I would either bring in your project administrator to answer that question, or I'd bring in the representative if it was an item-specific question or a product-specific question. So do I work off of a catalog, or do I have something that I'm looking to help you with your selections? The answer to that is no. I rely on the vendors and the representatives. I do have a lot of knowledge myself about the various things that a homeowner might choose, and I can direct you to make certain selections in certain areas. But I would definitely defer to the representative who would help you with those questions. There is a catalog that we do have on our website to give you an idea of selections you may want to choose. And that's something that I can certainly direct you to. Do I provide you, a catalog or websites so that you can do some pre-research yourself? The answer is yes. FineCraftContractors.com, we have our own catalog that gives you ideas from the various products that you may choose from for your project. For our vendors, each of them have a website that I can direct you to, and you can do a lot of pre-shopping there so that you come in informed when you work with the representative. Am I going to help the homeowners to be there in person and make decisions on their selections? As much as I actually would like to do that with the homeowners, we have a number of jobs at FineCraft, and I have to focus on each of them. But if a homeowner is having difficulty making design decisions, we have a catalog of designers that I'm happy to turn the homeowner over to so that the designer can help them with that. In a lot of cases, I have found that the reps that we work with, having so much experience in the products, they kind of act as a designer for that particular area, be it plumbing fixtures, tile, etc., and they can resolve a lot of the questions that the homeowners have, which is why we have a preferred list of vendors. As a selections manager, am I a designer? The answer is no, I'm not. I'm mainly a liaison to connect you with our experienced representatives and to help make sure you're making the correct choices of items that will technically work with your product. So I'm not a designer, but if the homeowner does need a designer, I'm absolutely happy to connect them with one.